Hi, good afternoon. My name is Liz Griffith, and let me go back. I am a fourth grade teacher. I've been teaching fourth grade for the last 9 years, and I'm currently in the middle of transitioning to middle school, but rest assured, I am very good at fourth grade. I want to thank you, first of all, for joining us this afternoon. Hopefully, this presentation on ELA will help you understand a little bit better when your child comes home with homework that different things that you don't understand that we might do differently in the classroom. This will help you to understand. And I want you to know that we do utilize the Open Court program in Mobile County. We adopted that at the beginning of last year. Before I go any further, I do want to kind of preview academic vocabulary that you may not be familiar with, that your child is familiar with, that they have used up until this point. A morpheme is the smallest part of a word or the meaningful part of a word. Prefix is a group of letters that are attached to the beginning of the word. Suffix, which is a group of letters that are attached to the end of a word. Both prefix and suffixes can change the meaning of a word. You also have the root or the base word. It's just the most basic part of that word. There is no prefix or suffix. You also have a multisyllabic word, a word that has more than one, and it's usually 2 or 3 syllables. And the meat of what we're going to be talking about today is word analysis, and we're going to learn how to analyze a word to find the meaning. And in order to analyze the word, we need to know how a word is structured. So we can do this by finding a meaning of the word by using the prefix, the base word, and the suffix. If you look at the example, you can see that desire is going to be our base word. It's the most basic part of the word, and we added un and able at the end to change the meaning of the word to undesirable. Okay, like I said earlier, Mobile County does utilize the Open Court reading program. And in Open Court, there are 3 main components to a lesson. We're going to go through just the major part of the fourth grade lesson, but the one part is the foundational skills, and this will include the word analysis, where we'll talk about prefixes, suffixes, the Greek and Latin roots, where the students will learn to make meaning and determine meaning of words. They will also have a reading and responding section, and this is where they'll learn their comprehension, the main comprehension skills, and comprehend that text, longer, more complex text. And then they have the language arts section, which does include the grammar, spelling, and writing. So you can see that this is an all-inclusive and encompasses all parts of the reading and every reading standard that you do have in front of you. All right, today we're going to just focus on the foundational skills, and it's the word analysis part of the foundational skills section. And it's important to develop the vocabulary and to build fluent readers. That's our main goal, is to develop these fluent readers that can comprehend complex text going on into 5th grade, 6th grade, and on up through middle and high. Okay, up until this point, kindergarten, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, your child has been mostly focused on determining how to read a word, not necessarily what the word means. So a lot of what we're going to focus on in 4th grade is breaking apart those words. They may know how to read them, but they may not know what they mean. So we are focusing on breaking down those words and determining meaning to help them understand that complex text. All right. First thing, and most of your kids, I'm kind of having to pick and choose different parts of this lesson to make it make sense for y'all. But they have already at this point learned what a prefix is, which is a group of letters attached to the beginning of a word. And they have also learned the different prefixes, dis, non, and un. So we're just going to review those. Dis and non and un are all grouped, and they mean not or opposite of. If you add them to the beginning of a word, they do create an antonym of the word or something that is opposite. The new one that we will learn today is re, which means back or again. Okay, when we display, this is part of the word analysis, when we display this, and you should have it in front of you, this slide, and there are 4 lines. And once again, if I have it on my screen, I usually can go up there and manipulate the words, and that's what your student will see. But I'm going to go back, and we're going to just start with line 1 and break down and analyze the one line at a time. Does anybody need any pencils or pens or anything to write with? Because I'm going to make y'all do something with, we're all going to participate. You're not going to make me do this by myself. We're going to participate. Okay, I have broken it down line by line. And if you look at line 1, we're going to read the words. We have discontinue, disapprove, disqualify, and disassemble. Now, your student or your child, they may be able to read these words just fine because their decoding skills are perfect. They have had great lower elementary teachers that have taught them how to read. Well, now we are going to break apart these words. And the first part is you need to identify the prefix in each one of these words, which is dis. So I want you to go ahead and box in line 1 the word or the prefix dis. And we know that that means it's going to create an antonym of the root word or the base word. Well, I'm going to break it down even further, and we're going to go and we're going to start with the first word on that line, discontinue. We have already boxed the prefix. And we know that above the prefix, the meaning is not. So if you want to go ahead and write not right above there. And then we have the word, the base word, which is continue. We know to continue means to go on with a particular action. Well, if we put those two together, what do we have? What's the definition of discontinue? To not continue or to not go on with a particular action. So this becomes routine as we keep going through each line. We will do this line by line, and the kids, they become very fluent, and it becomes automatic while they're reading. That way they don't have to struggle to make meaning of a text, especially these longer, more complex texts in 4th grade. We don't want them to struggle. We want them to be able to see a word and be able to do this all automatically in their head. Now it's going to be your turn to continue with line 1. So I have boxed the dis, the prefix, and I've underlined the base word and identified. And we know that means to not continue. Well, I want you to take about a minute, and I want you to do the rest of the line on your own. Go ahead and identify the prefix, underline the base word, and then I want you to make meaning of that. Give me the definition of that word. Look, I've got some hardworking parents out here. They're taking it seriously. I love it. Okay, I am going to go through disapprove to not approve. And then you have disqualify, to make a person or thing not qualified. Now, I have a star by here. I want to tell you that sometimes that literal meanings of prefixes and suffixes, it's going to lead to some awkward definitions that don't make sense. So you're going to have to add other words to make it clear. So we added to make a person or thing not qualified. And then we have disassemble, to do the opposite of assemble, or to take apart. Now I'm going to bring us back to the decoding slide, and we will move on. I'm not going to make you do all of these lines, but I do want to jump down to line 4, and I'm going to go through. I'm just going to jump through real quick. I had all these extra practices for y'all to do. But this is something that we would do in the classroom, and I would have this where your child can come up here and they're in our little group, our whole group, and they would come up here. They'd be able to use their pen. They'd be able to manipulate this just like you're doing on your paper. Okay, when we get down to line 4, we have another prefix that is re. So if you want to go ahead and identify and box the prefix in each one of those words in line 4, we have reconsider, reassemble, reconfigure, and reexamine. Can anybody tell me what is the meaning of the prefix re? Anybody remember from earlier? Yeah, to go do something again or to go back. So we're going to break it down. We're going to start with reconsider. We have already boxed our prefix re, and we identified the base word consider. So you'd write the definition is again, and then consider. If we consider something, we're thinking about something and deciding if it can be changed or deciding if it should be changed. So when we reconsider something, we are considering again or deciding if something should be changed again. Now I want you to do line 4, that same thing where you identify the prefix and the base word or the root word, and then give me the definition. I'll give you about 1 minute. Okay. So for reassemble, our base word is assemble, the prefix we're going to put together again or to assemble again. And a lot of times the students like the word assemble. We know that the word is assemble again, but they may not know exactly what assemble is. So that's where us as teachers will have to go through and develop that vocabulary. And that's a tier 2, tier 3 vocabulary word where we'll have to tell them, hey, this is what assemble means. So now they'll know that it means to put together again. Reconfigure, to configure or rearrange again. And then re-examine, to examine or to look at again. All right, now we have lines 1 and 4. We have these put together. Do you notice any of the words on line 1 and 4 that have the same root word or the same base word? Okay, which word is that? Assemble. Okay, we have disassemble and reassemble. We said the root word was assemble. Base word is assemble. Okay, so disassemble, reassemble. Can you give me another word? I just flashed it up here with the base word assemble in it. Be assembly. Okay, an assembly is all of the students and teachers met in the auditorium for an assembly. This is where I'll ask students for different, hey, do you have a different definition or do you have a different word with the base word assemble in it? And they would tell me. And in order for me to understand if they have the correct meaning, if they can make meaning of it, I would ask them to use it in a sentence. Also, pre-assembled. Dan bought a pre-assembled kite, but I put one together myself. Then we'll go on to decoding actual sentences with that word in it. We are going to look at, there'll be 2 different sentences that they will use. We're just going to focus on sentence number 1. And I think you have this slide in front of you. Do y'all have this slide? Okay. All right. Jenny slid an omelet out of the nonstick pan and refilled her empty cup with coffee. So we have a couple words in here that have prefixes that we've talked about. And I would ask the students, hey, can you identify any word that would have a prefix that we've talked about today? We have nonstick, and we also have refilled. We know that non, and then we have the base word stick, not, and not to place or hold. So it's got a nonstick pan a pan that doesn't place or have any hold to it. And then refilled. And there's something different about refilled. We have a prefix. Do you all notice anything at the end of the word that would be different? The ending, it is a suffix. It means, and then we have the base word, feel. So we have re again, and then the base word, the suffix in the past, these are all things that we've talked about up until this point. This is not any new information for them. And then we have the fill, to fill something again. All right. Now is your chance, if you want to flip over your paper, or if there's space at the bottom. This is the part of the lesson where the students, I'll have them apply what we've learned so far up until this point in the lesson. So the first one says to not treat with honor. They're going to have to come up with their own word that means to not treat with honor. So we know to treat with honor is honor. And then to not is dis. So we have dishonor. This is them trying to figure out if we're going to use dis, on, or non, and which one makes sense. So I want you to go ahead. I'm going to set a timer for 2 minutes. And I want you to go ahead and give me the next 6 words. And these are all things that your students, if they come home with homework or if they have different activities they do with their teacher, this is what you are going to see when they come home. Okay, I see most of you wrapping up. I'm going to go ahead and stop our timer so it doesn't buzz on me. Not clear. Unclear, correct. I don't know why that's still going. I'm going to give you all of them at one time. So we have unclear, non-dominant, uncomfortable, reclaim, disagree, and return. Okay, now the next part of the lesson, I'm going to turn it over, is the workshop.
Okay, my name is Rebecca Johnson, and I am the 4th grade teacher at the Elementary Alternative School, which is Pathway K-5. So I'm going to go over the workshop, and this is independent practice. Every student is given a workbook that they are able to write in that they will use for the duration of their time in 4th grade. So these are skills practice pages. And a lot of the times when we're going over this to start with, we will do these together. So it may be that one of the groups is that we're actually working on them. I'm very lucky at the school that I'm at that I do have a paraprofessional with me in the classroom. So there are times that they will help go through these worksheets and make sure that the students understand what they are doing. So I'm going to go back real quick because I want to point out something to you at the top. The very top, it gives them a refresher on the focus that we are going over for that week. So it will include the definition of what a prefix is. It will also include the definition of the root or the base word. And then it will give them examples of the prefixes. So it may be that we go over the first 6 together. And this should pull up the first 6. So it says practice. It says add the correct prefix to each word to give it the opposite meaning. You may use the dictionary if necessary. So this is also another time we can introduce that dictionary skill because the majority of our textbooks are online. The students do have a hardback copy of their reading book, so they are able to go through and either use the dictionary that's in the back of the book or if the classroom has a dictionary. So for number 1, what I would do with my children is we would go through the word popular and talk about what the word means. Then if we are uncertain of what prefix we should use, I always have them put the prefix in front of the word. Try every one of them to see which one makes sense. So we would go through and we would say dispopular. And I'd have the kids think about it, maybe even turn and talk to their neighbor and ask if they've ever heard the word dispopular used. We would move to the next one, non-popular. And then we would go with the last and go unpopular. Then I would ask all of the students, which one do you hear the most? So which do you hear the most? Unpopular, good. So unpopular means not popular or not popular. And then a lot of times our kids will get off on a little tangent and we'll talk about, high school groups and what it means kind of to be in the popular crowd and the unpopular, because we have to relate this to our children. And unfortunately, that's what they understand. So we're going through and it says give the opposite. We would also introduce academic vocabulary of what is another word that means opposite. Does anyone know what another word for opposite is? Antonym, good. The antonym is the opposite of the word. And this is going to go through what we just did, unpopular. Now, let's go to the second one. What do you think the second word could be? Disconnect. Good. And then we would go in and we would talk about what the word connect means and disconnect. I would always tell my kids, a sentence using disconnect, my phone was disconnected because I didn't pay the bill. So I have to make connections with my children just because we do teach a different population. And if I tell them my phone got disconnected, everybody could tell me a story of their cousin's phone or somebody's phone that they knew that got disconnected. So it's making real life connections with children. And we would continue that till we got to the end of number 6. Now, these words are their vocabulary words for the week. So it says match each definition below with a word from the word box. So instead of them having to look up every word in the dictionary, that gets kind of boring. So this is another way for us to introduce the definitions to each child. So we're going to jump to number 10. It says to not follow commands or rules. What word do you think would go into this definition? Disobey. Correct. And we would go back through not, and then follow the commands or the rules would be what we consider the base word. So disobey would fit in this definition. Look at number 12 and 14. I'm going to give you just a second and see if you can figure out what what words these definitions go to. All right, let's look at number 11, to look again. Re-examine, good. We know that again means to, and then examine can mean to look at. So it would be re-examine. What about number 14? Non-verbal. Not can mean non, and involving words means verbal. So non-verbal. All right, I'm going to turn it over.
Liz is going to come up and say just a couple
Okay.
more things about the lesson.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to come back and I wanted to answer, or if you had any questions about, I know this is very tedious, when their assessments come at the end of the week, they will have to be able to read and identify words. They're not going to necessarily have to box in, but they are going to have to identify. This, once again, is going to be routine as we move on through 4th grade. They're going to learn prefixes. They're going to learn different morphemes. That's a big part of the word analysis in 4th grade. We kind of jump away from the phonics and learning how to read to making meaning from what we have read. So, our goal is to make this as easy for them and things that they can do in their head. Automatic, that was the word I was looking for. Automatic, so that they won't struggle, that they can focus on making meaning of the text. So, I'm going to turn it over to Teresa Curtis. Question. That would be an individual school question where your child goes, and I know I have a child that's going into 4th grade this year as well, and we have always ripped the pages out as we go, like at the end of the week, so that the parents can see what they are doing in class and kind of how it coincides. But I know that we have not sent the whole books home with the child with stuff that's not completed, but they're perforated so they can tear them out as they go.
And
So-
there is an online component to this. So you should be able to request it through your child's teacher. Your child should have a login. And these pages are online along with the weekly story, the vocabulary words, the spelling words. I think there's games, if I'm not mistaken, on the website.
Can I pull that up?
Yeah.
Okay. All students should have access to Clever. Oh, I'm at Aussie. They moved my stuff over. Oh, sorry, y'all. I've been, just in the. Okay, let's see here. I might not have that. Oh, okay. I do have access to it still. Okay, so I'm going to pull up the student edition. And this is what their screen will look like. And a lot of times during that workshop session that she was talking about, they also have the online component that they can use their devices for and log in and go ahead, and there's different activities and things that the teacher can assign. But if you look over here at the side, they have a to-do, and that's where their teacher will assign them something. They have the resources section. And this is where they have the ebooks. So your language arts handbook will be in here. Activities, okay. Okay, so it's an online. There is an online component.
Yeah.
The anthology is what you want to do.
Yeah, that's this. Yeah, that's
So the stories that we read throughout the week are also, they can go back and reread. And it also has a part to it where it will read to you. It has the audio version where if they want to follow along as it reads to them.
And it may be that their individual teacher has to go in and assign the worksheets to them, but it's the same worksheets that they would be working on in class.
It is. It's everything. It would be under, they can upload their work.
It would be on their to-do list.
Yeah.
Yeah, their to-do. But yes, they do have access to everything. And then you would need to just talk to your child's teacher because they don't do it as a district as far as assigning resources, like individual resources and pages. That would be like your child's teacher, like, hey, they're working on this lesson this week. Can you assign Unit 1, Week 1, or the pages that I can see at home electronically? So. Yes. Your child has a login through Clever, and it is a McGraw-Hill. You will click on the McGraw-Hill. Can you all see that right here? It's a red box. And that will bring them right to their grade level that they're registered for. So 4th grade, it'll bring up, I have like the teacher, so it'll have all of them. But it'll bring up the 4th grade student edition book. And then it will have their online resources that they can do. So.
Do they know how to get to the from MCB's?
Do y'all know how to get too clever? I feel like I need to go back and keep explaining. Okay, let me go back. We're gonna, if you just go to Mobile County, mcpss.com, and it's students and families, correct?
Yes.
Okay, students and families, and then it's clever. And it should take you right there.
Yep.
And they have anything that their teacher It'll be linked to their teacher, and anything, any app or anything that their teacher uses will be on their Clever. So it may not look like mine. It'll have different apps.
And on the book, do they have to be logged into their Google account in order to get access?
Yes.
Yes.
With the book, does it have like a teaching instruction, like basically what it taught on that page, or that has to be assigned?
It will not, so when you go in, the only thing the student will see is if they were opening that textbook in class. So if you're able
Let
to
me
get
see.
some of the worksheets, if they put them up, then you will kind of, like the one while ago had the little box at the
I'm gonna
top
put this in
that told you what they were looking for. It will kind of give you a brief little synopsis of what the skill is, because it also does have the skill, whether it's point of view or if it's going into character traits. It will kind of go over that.
I'm gonna find that book sometime. But
That's just a handwriting.
that's just the handwriting book.
That's- yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, language arts.
Then they'll have to assign it,
Yes.
yeah, individually. But okay, I'll let you move on. All right.
Well, good afternoon. My name is Teresa Curtis. I am the local reading specialist at Eichel Mertz Magnet School. And I'm just going to follow up with what Liz and Rebecca presented today and talk about some extension activities. I'm going to kind of click through this because this is what was covered already. Okay, so Rebecca mentioned earlier that during reading workshop time, teachers may assign skills practice pages. Students may be working in small groups with the teacher. And teachers may also choose to assign some more engaging activities because they just did a lot of heavy lifting during the reading lesson. So our hope is that during reading workshop time, students will have an opportunity to do some things that are also fun and engaging. So what we would like for you to do is, if you have your cell phone with you today, if you would go ahead and take out your cell phones. We have a brief word analysis activity that follows up with the lesson that was taught today. Here's the QR code. There are also QR codes placed at your table in the plastic sleeves at your tables if you need a more convenient way to scan. And the QR code will take you to an activity that uses the same words that Liz covered in the reading lesson today. We're going to go ahead and set a timer for you and allow you to complete that activity as if your students would in the classroom during workshop time. Okay, our 3 minutes for our activity is up. So if you would bring it back together for me. I'm going to go ahead and talk about some of your take-home resources. If you would go ahead and take your Parent University backpack that you see located at your seat. If you would grab that, I'm going to walk through some of the resources that the district has provided for fourth grade parents. So I'm excited to share a few resources with you that can help support your child's education during this upcoming school year. These books are designed to make learning engaging and effective. They cover a range of subjects and skills that are crucial for your child's academic success. Each of the books I will mention have been provided for you to take in your take-home bags. Okay, the first resource that you will find is on the screen here, Kids Learn, Getting Ready for Fourth Grade. This is an excellent resource for helping your child transition smoothly into the fourth grade. It covers essential skills in reading, mathematics, writing, and more. Each activity is designed to reinforce what your child has learned in the third grade and will be a great resource during their fourth grade year. Okay, the next resource that I'd like to talk about is Conquering Fourth Grade. This is a comprehensive resource that covers all of the key subjects that your child will encounter in fourth grade, including reading, math, science, social studies, and writing. Each section is packed with activities and exercises that are aligned with the standards your child will be learning in school. And speaking of standards, on your table you will see a sheet that says fourth grade priority standards. If you flip it over, all of the standards that your child will learn this year in reading, and language arts are listed on the back. Those are your priority standards. Okay. This book also has clear explanations and engaging activities that makes it easy for you to support learning at home. All right, I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Haynes.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ms. Haynes. I'm a third grade teacher at Erwin Craighead Elementary. The next resource that we're going to discuss is the vocabulary ladders, understanding word nuisance of level 4 for 4th grade. Expanding your child's vocabulary is essential for their reading comprehension and overall academic success. This book uses a unique approach called vocabulary ladders to help your child understand word nuisance and improve vocabulary skills. The activities in this book are designed to be both fun, challenging, encouraging your child to think about new words in new ways and make connections between words and their meanings. By using this resource, you can help your child develop a richer vocabulary, which will enhance their reading and writing abilities. And the last resource that we will discuss is the 4th grade Family Engagement Guide. This guide is a wonderful tool for involving the whole family in your child's education. It provides a variety of activities. It provides a variety of activities and strategies that you can use at home to support your child's learning in a fun and meaningful way. This guide also includes tips for helping with homework, ideas for family projects, and ways to incorporate learning in everyday activities. And that's what the 4th grade reading guide looks like. And so by incorporating all of these resources into your child's daily routine, you can provide them with the support that they need to succeed in 4th grade and beyond. Each book offers a variety of activities that cater to different learning styles, making it easy for you to find the right approach for your child. We want to thank you for your commitment to your child's education. We hope that you find these resources helpful. We thank you for your time and continued support of Mobile County Public School System, and we want to wish you all a very